Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in the Carpathian Basin. I hope everybody has had a good week, staying strong, staying healthy, staying productive, and looking forward to an excellent weekend. Hi Bekjan, hi Sammy, welcome members. Hi Medina, hi Seni. Hi, Saki Bose and Guru. Good to see some of our regular students already in the class. Hi, Udaya. In this class, we are looking at Task 2 writing, and we're looking at writing essays that score and score high band scores. Of course, on the IELTS, and essays that score high band scores on the IELTS, like 8 and 9, will also be essays that score well in your college and university classes. Hi, Samuel. Hi, Ferdovs and Jainil. Welcome. Students, this class is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please check us out there. For general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of materials to help you prepare for your exam, including help with writing as well. So this is our academic website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join our premium package. And this is our website here with the green background. And you can click that big red button there. We're official British Council's IELTS registration center for Saudi Arabia as well. So for those of you in Saudi Arabia, you can register for your IELTS exam through us. Just send us an email or contact us through the website. Students, get our apps. Academic IELTS Help app, link it to aehelp.com. For general IELTS, get General IELTS Help app and link it to gieltshelp.com. That will definitely help you prepare for your test. And if you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Of course, we have books on Amazon as well. Search Amazon for our exams. There are 2 academic books, AE Helps Academic IELTS, and 2 books for General IELTS as well. We'll have our 3rd book coming out later this year for both. So search for those on Amazon if you'd like to get some actual physical paperback books to practice from at home. They're very, very much the same difficulty and style as the Cambridge past exams, just half the cost. So if you want to be cost efficient, you can use our books to study for the test. So today we will finish the task 2 that we started yesterday, and then we will have a really cool diagram, task 1 academic, for everybody after that. We'll look at a diagram on clouds. So that should be fun. All right. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll have some speaking part 2, speaking part 3. So we'll finish the week with some speaking. This was the question from yesterday that we started. Let's read this. Let's review. So we're getting into our writing now. Okay, so follow carefully with me. We'll spend a couple minutes just for students that weren't here yesterday, and of course as a refresher for everyone to go over the question. So IELTS Task 2 writing, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. People are more similar than they are different. To what extent do you agree or disagree? It's short, it's simple, but simple is not always easy. You have to be careful. Okay, that's kind of a golden rule. Simple is great and simple is good. That rule applies to many parts of life, but simple is not the same as easy. That's one of the biggest mistakes that many people make, is they believe that simple is easy, but simple is not easy. Simple is simple. So simple is great, but simple is not the same as easy. Okay, so careful with that. And so yesterday we identified that, okay, here we're talking about people. That's the topic. And the controlling idea is the degree to which we are similar and the degree to which we are unique. And then we talked about figuring out what's the best answer for that. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Again, just a reminder, everyone, saying that I somewhat agree would not work for this. Let me just show you exactly why. Okay, there's a lot of students, and I think there's some bad information online and in schools that say, oh, I state I somewhat agree, then one side for one paragraph, the other side for the other paragraph. But that's not so good. Okay, I'll show you why. So this is a bad approach. So this is a bad approach to this essay. I somewhat agree with this statement. I'll show you why that's actually a very awkward answer, and it makes for a bad essay, so it sets you up for failure, basically. Let me show you why I'm saying that. So let me write it in the full sentence, okay? So here, if I write this, I somewhat agree as the full statement, then here's the full statement. And you can try this always to make sure that you're not writing something that's difficult and illogical. So I somewhat agree that people are more similar than they are different. So notice all I've done here is I've taken the statement, people are more similar than they are different, and I put it into my argument or my position as a full statement. So rather than just using this, I created a very comprehensive answer here. I somewhat agree that people are more similar than they are different. If you think about that for a second, then it's kind of logically flawed. It's like, what do you mean you somewhat agree that people are more similar than different? How can you somewhat agree with that? I mean, you either believe that people are more similar than they are different, or that they're not. You can't kind of agree with this statement. Does that make sense? So does it make sense how it's a bit awkward logically to kind of agree that people are more similar than they are different? They either are or they're not. They can't really be both. Do you see the logic there? Okay, so this would make for an illogical essay, which written even with the best English would be considered incoherent and poor writing. Okay, so definitely don't do that. Okay, definitely don't do that. All right, so either agree or disagree. Be really careful. All right, the I somewhat is usually not a good way to answer these kinds of questions. You should either completely agree or completely disagree. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Manpreet. So Manpreet is saying in the somewhat case, our ideas would contradict themselves. Absolutely, Manpreet. Yeah, you'd write contradictory information, which would be really confusing. So to an alien, they'd be like, wow, well, people are smart and sentient, but you're also really a confusing species, which is probably true. Okay, so yesterday we went through the correct steps. Okay. So we went through the correct steps yesterday, and we identified that it's probably the best to argue that people are more similar than they are different. And we did that by using some critical thinking of what are people. So people are self-aware, logical, social, mammals with 2 legs, 2 arms, willpower. And then we talked about why we exist. We're part of the ecosystem. We're here to balance nature. We exist through millions of years of evolution or through creation. And then we talked about how we live as humans. We consume air, water, food. So we talked about the topic, and we realized that, yeah, okay, we share a lot of similarities, right? Okay, so finally we came up with a good thesis statement, and then we finished the introduction. And the introduction, a good introduction, not a template introduction or not a weak introduction, but a good introduction according to English essay writing standards. If you Google that, if you Google introductory paragraph persuasive essays in English, it will tell you it should have a hook, it should give context or background, and it should have a thesis statement. Okay? All right. So here we go. This was our introduction here. Hook, there are over 8 billion humans living on Earth. Each individual consumes air, water, and food for survival, walks on 2 legs, and constantly makes decisions in their daily lives using sentient thinking. I would probably, if I want to sound more natural here, now that I reread this the second day, I would probably write as sentient thinkers. Okay, that reads a little bit better. And then here's the importance of this question. Now, this question, I saw a couple people in the chat say it's kind of a weird question, or can we do something else? Or girls, guys, this question's an official IELTS question. This was in a past IELTS exam. I did not come up with this. This was recommended by one of your fellow students because they thought it was kind of challenging or tricky, and they're right, and they got it from a past IELTS exam. So this was in an actual IELTS exam as a task 2 question. Okay, so here's the importance. Okay, the degree to which humans are similar or different dictates our social interactions and privileges. Okay, so that's why we as humans talk about our differences and our similarities, is because we feel that that gives us the right to do or the right not to do certain activities. Okay. All right. So then the thesis statement, here we go. Although there is a great amount of variety among individuals, overall, I believe that humans are much more alike than unique when it comes to physiology and psychology. So here I'm showing my reader that, look, my position, that's why I'm using I, because the question is asking to what degree do you agree or disagree? So I'm using first person I. I believe that humans are much more, so clearly I'm in favor that we're much more alike than unique. When it comes to physiology, so our body, our genetics, okay, that would be the other way to look at that. Okay, now that's going to be body paragraph 1, clearly. Okay, and then my body paragraph 2 will focus on our psychology. And with our psychology, we can mix in experience as well. So that's my body paragraph 2, and that's going to be psychology. Now, question. So this is for our advanced students that have been learning essays with me for a while. Is it by chance that I did this as 1 and 2, or do you believe that I did this on purpose? So did I write physiology, so our bodies first, and then our psychology second? Or does it matter? Could I have done it such as when it comes to psychology and physiology? So which is better? I can ask you it this way. Which is better? Is it better to talk about psychology first and then physiology, or physiology and psychology? Or we could also say genetics and behavior. Okay? So why did I have this order? Why did I use physiology first, and why did I choose psychology second? By chance or on purpose? Okay? So Alex says physiology first. Why? So think logically here, think critically here. Why would I want to write about our bodies before I write about our minds? What's the logic? Okay, so Sammy, you agree, and Jainil agrees that this order is better. So why is that order better? Why is it better to talk about our body and then our mind? And I did do it on purpose, Rajveer, absolutely. So that was not by accident. Okay, Begjan says, well, it's because this is very visible. That's a good point. Absolutely. Okay, so yes, it's visible. Sure, I agree. That's one. The other reason, in my mind, is not just because it's visible, but because, believe it or not, physiology, in my mind, is simple and psychology is complex. Okay? We're similar in simple ways, like having two arms, hands, opposable thumbs, legs. And we're similar in our psychology in that we learn languages, we communicate with one another, we love, we feel. Our psychology is more complex. And you might have heard this before that humans these days are more our brains or more our psychology than we are our body. So our body is the kind of the case for our mind, and it's our mind that really makes us human. So this is what truly makes us human. Okay? Otherwise, we're not that different from a monkey, from a chimpanzee or a gorilla, right? But this is what really makes us human, is our minds. Okay? So I want to tell the reader that, yeah, okay, look, visibly, physically, we look the same. Even more so, or furthermore, we're very similar mentally as a unique, sentient, logical, critical thinking species on Earth, right? So that's the point that I want to leave my reader on, okay? Do you get kind of what I mean by that? So it makes sense for me to have that because remember, task 2 in the IELTS is a persuasive essay. You're creating an argument. And to get that band 8 or that band 9, you have to do more than just use good English. You have to create a good, clear, well-structured argument. Okay? All right, so cool. Let's get rolling with this. So let's get into body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1 starts with the topic sentence. Okay. Good. So I can see that everybody is on the same page as me. That's fantastic. So let's start with body 1. Okay. Body 1 is our physiology. Okay. So here, topic sentence on our physiological, or we can all, no, I'll let you paraphrase that. So I'm going to go physiological. Similarities versus differences. Okay, you can mention the differences here, just hint if you want, so that you can still have comparison. A lot of students think that the one way that they can make the comparison is more similar than different is to write one paragraph about our differences and then one paragraph about our similarities, but you don't need to do that. It's actually smarter just to write half a sentence on our differences and then focus the rest of the paragraph on our similarities. Okay? All right? So topic sentence on our physiological similarities versus differences. So give me that topic sentence. Okay? I'm going to do the same, and then we'll compare. Okay, I see lots of them coming up, which is great, and I'll read those in just a moment. I'm going to write mine, okay? All right, so let's see what you put up there, and then we'll take a look at what I just wrote, and we'll make a little comparison. All right, so Kyber, you should go into more detail for your topic sentence. Think about descriptive paraphrasing. Okay, so descriptive paraphrasing. Samuel says people are similar in the way that their bodies have evolved over the years so as to strengthen the survival of species. Okay, so Samuel, you're giving a reason of why we are the same. But here we're not necessarily arguing the reason of why we are the same, just simply arguing the fact that we are the same. Okay. Beckjan says, although each human has different facial appearance, they all have 2 legs, 2 hands, and 12 organs. Okay, Beckjan, very nice. So you wrote something different than I did, but in essence, you wrote very much the same. Okay, so take a look, students, at what Beckjan wrote. Take a look at what I wrote. Different words, different way of looking at the apple, okay? But we're definitely talking about the same apple, all right? The human in this case. So this is what I wrote. While it is true that there are slight genetic variances among humans that lead to different eye and hair colors, people's physiology is mostly 99% the same. Okay. And then if we read what Beckjan wrote, although each human has different facial appearance, they all have 2 legs, 2 hands, and 12 organs. 2 legs, 2 hands, 12 organs. It's basically another way to say this phrase here. Okay, Beckjan says different facial appearance. I said different eye and hair colors. Okay, so we're basically writing the same idea. So again, there are lots of different ways to write the essay, but you have to express similar concepts to have a clear argument here, for sure. Okay, Ferdov says one of the 2 aspects of similarity among individuals is physiological. Ferdov's physiological. Okay. Alex says the way in which human bodies function are similar to all individuals under the sun. Under the sky, it's okay. I would write under the sun, Alex, but under the sky, sure. Hassan says it is evident by science that physiology and function of humans' body. Hassan, let me correct that a little bit. Let's make that a little bit better, okay? So it is evident through science that both form and function of human physiology is similar because it is adapted to the stresses of experience. Okay, it's quite a complex sentence, Hassan, so don't overdo it. Okay, at the end of the day, you're not writing a master's thesis here. It is an IELTS essay, so careful. The first part's okay. So it is evident through science that both form and function of the human body is similar among all humans. Okay, that would be the correct way, Hassan. So hopefully you caught that. Orkan, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you're enjoying the lesson. Okay, Rajveer says, even though there are subtle differences in terms of skin color and shape, humans are mostly identical in their physical appearance. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Very good, Rajveer. That's a very good topic sentence, Rajveer. It's very clear. It's very accurate. Okay. Barinder says, while there are some noticeable physical differences among individuals, such as eye or hair color, they are generally identical in their outer appearance. Yeah, very good. Okay. Barinder, that's exactly it. All right, Natalie, you're going really far down the rabbit hole about genetics, so just stay focused here. It's good, but stay focused, okay? Seni Surani says, there are structures for our brains, but if you dig further, the minds vary like the proverb that even though humans have the same black hair, their minds speak differently. Seni, that's kind of off topic and confusing for your reader in this case, okay? And believe it or not, our minds although we produce a lot of different behaviors and thoughts, are still quite similar in essence. Okay? All right. Samuel, very, very close to Rajveer, almost verbatim. Interesting. So Samuel says, even though people have subtle differences in the way they look, their underlying physical structures, such as the skeleton and internal composition, is the same for the entire species. Very nice use of vocabulary, Samuel. I was focusing the word species in my next part here with the explanation. So that's what we're doing next. So explain this, okay? So we can go further with this and we can explain to our reader what we mean by the fact that our physiology is the same. So not an example yet, we're explaining here, right? So while it is true there are slight genetic variances among humans that lead to different eye and hair colors, people's physiology is mostly 99% the same. Let's explain that, okay? So I'm going to explain it and you explain it as well, all right? So all right, so that's what I did. Again, lots of different ways to do this. Just dig deeper. So give that visual description, right? Give that visual description. Let's see what you come up with, and then we'll compare. Okay. Monica Bethula says, humans are almost identical in every internal and external part of the body with just slight variations in color and size. Monica, size, instead of length, size, right? Because you can have length, width, and so on, so size. Ferdab says, the human body's functions, system of organs, influence of the external environment are the same for the entire species. Very nice, Ferdabs. Very, very nice. Okay. Natalie, enjoy the walk with the kids. I'm glad that you're with us here at the same time and just picking up as much English as possible. Hey, even learning passively is better than none at all. So that's good, Natalie. All right. Rajveer says, every individual has 2 hands, legs, eyes, and ears, as well as 1 head and nose. These physical properties symbolize unity in diversity and prove that people are more identical. Very nice writing. Rajveer, in all honesty, put that together with the introduction, and so far you have a very clear Band 9 essay. Okay? As long as you're not making any major grammatical mistakes, which you're not, you are definitely on path for a Band 9 for this question. Very good. Okay? Karen, nice use of vocabulary. Karen says, we as Homo sapiens are comprised of the same skeletal system, internal organs, and have similar postures. Very good, Karen. So you're mostly all writing similarly to what I'm doing as well. So here, the average human has 4 limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs, walks in an upright pattern, and belongs to the same species of Homo sapiens, thereby able to physically interact and reproduce. The only way to achieve this is to be primarily the same, right? Obviously, we cannot interact and reproduce with other species, horse, and cat and dog, obviously. Okay, that's bizarre. All right. So let's have an example. Okay, I'm really curious what you come up with for the example here. So some really nice sentences, everyone. Let's write an example for this. So write an example of this similarity. Okay, so I'm going to write an example, and then we'll compare. Okay, be visual. Think about your experiences in life. Think about what physiological similarities you've shared with people that you might have met through different walks of life at different points in your travels, in your school, and so on, right? So all right. So there's my example. Let's see what you come up with for your examples. Here we go. All right. Ooh, I see a couple of really good examples already just by glancing. Okay. So Ferdov says, for instance, during the COVID-19, all people were infected in the same way because of our similar physiologies. Yeah, wow, Ferdovs, that's some clever thinking. So notice that one, students. So Ferdov says, hey, let's just take the case of a virus like COVID-19. The reason COVID-19 is so dangerous for all humans, or most humans, is because our physiologies are very similar. If we had different physiologies, then some people would be affected while other people would be not affected at all, right? But that's not the case. We're all worried about it because we share similar physiologies. The common flu, right? That's some clever thinking for Dobbs, and that's really showing how far your critical thinking has come in these classes. Then that's great to see. All right. Let's see some other examples. So Un says, for example, people engaged in playing badminton with their hands and legs for running. These uses could not be attained with cats and dogs. Yeah, sure. That's a funny example, Un, but it works, right? So we're able to enjoy these kinds of games together because of our similarities. Yeah. So this is kind of what I wrote as well, Un. So I have met with people from North America, Asia, and Europe, and have found myself to be physically very similar to all, which has enabled me to enjoy games like basketball and football. Everyone could juggle, move, kick, and bounce the ball just as well. All right? Very visual, right? It's a personal example because it's a first person voice for this essay, as I showed in the thesis statement. Okay? All right, so far so good. Now we can add a connecting or concluding sentence. All right. So let's conclude this. There are a few different ways to do it. I'll write my connecting concluding sentence. You do the same, and then we'll compare. Okay, so Okay, so I'm just going to keep it fairly simple here. All I'm going to say is clearly, from our external to our internal makeup, we are relatively identical. Okay, so external, our physical body that we see on the outside, internal, our bodies on the inside. In fact, if we take away our skin and our outside shell, then we are even more alike than we would ever think. Okay. All right. So that's my full body paragraph. Here we go. Let me read through it just from the top. So while it is true that there are slight genetic variances among humans that lead to different eye and hair colors, people's physiology is mostly 99% the same. The average human has 4 limbs, 2 arms, and 2 legs, walks in an upright pattern, and belongs to the same species, thereby able to physically interact and reproduce. The only way to achieve this is to be primarily the same. I have met with people from North America, Asia, and Europe, and have found myself to be physically very similar to all of them, which has enabled me to enjoy games like basketball and football. Everyone could juggle, move, kick, and bounce the ball just as well. Clearly, from our external to our internal makeup, we are relatively identical. All right, so there we have a strong argument for the fact that we are more similar than we are different. Now, we take it into the second body paragraph, okay? So you have a good idea now for all of you who are with me throughout this class, and you now know that you need to do the same, but for body paragraph 2, we will focus on our psychology. So, okay. So what do we mean that we are the same psychologically? Okay, so this means in our thinking. This one could be a little bit trickier because some people might be thinking, no, well, we're all different. We all think differently. However, just as a point in case, notice how many of us there are in this live session right now. In fact, there's over 160 of us in here right now from all different parts of the world. And even though we come from so many different regions and different walks of life, we're all united under this common goal to achieve a high band score on the IELTS exam. So the proof is in the pudding, as they say in English. The proof is in the pudding that psychologically we're very similar. There are people here from Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, India, Nepal, China, and we're all able to communicate with each other. Okay, so think about these kinds of contexts. All right, think about these kinds of contexts. Okay, so give me the topic sentence for this one. Okay, give me the topic sentence for this one. So I'll write a topic sentence, and then you write one, and then we'll compare it. Okay. Oh, Rajveer, actually, I didn't notice that I changed this class from member to all chat. I think I just forgot to set it, but you know what? It's nice to have everybody in here for this topic. No, Rajveer, actually, I didn't do it on purpose, believe it or not, and I didn't even realize it until I just read your comment, but I'm happy that everybody was able to join in on this class, okay? All right. Bekjan says, every person thinks similarly through their minds using logical and rational thinking like most other humans. Yeah, of course there are differences at times, but like most other humans, yeah? Okay, Lepe says, please don't remind him. Don't worry, I won't change it now, okay? All right. So Tenzin says, due to similar thoughts between humans, we have come to such a huge development in our society. Yeah, that's true, Tenzin. So because we can think similarly, we can work together, right? And if we look at mathematics, engineering, physics, chemistry, these ideas, we share a lot of these concepts and these ideas as well, right? Absolutely. Rajveer says the majority of people have the same analytical and logical thinking and experiences while doing routine activities. Yeah, so even though there are many All right. So throwing in some vocabulary there for you as well. So this is my topic sentence. So what I'm doing is the same as for the first body paragraph. Notice that in body paragraph 1, I showed the examiner or the reader that, yeah, okay, there are differences among people, but we are much more the same. And I even used the number here, 99% the same, for our body, our physiological appearance, our physiology, okay? Now, here, for body 2, for our psychology, I'm doing the same. So even though there are many different perspectives among individuals, so sure, we see different situations slightly differently. Our daily thought processes, plural here, experiences, behaviors, and desires share more alikeness than not. So basically what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, we do behave and think and decide and act much more alike than not, thankfully. Okay, just imagine if we all really thought differently, there would be a lot more problems in the world. There would be a lot of conflict and a lot of fighting, a lot more than what we have right now. That's for sure. So let's explain this. Okay, so explain to me what we mean by thought processes, experiences, behaviors, desires. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Okay, what do you mean by that? Give me some explanations for that. Okay, I'm going to do the same. We're going to move a little bit faster now. So I'll try to catch some of your comments for sure as we go along. Explain that. Okay, Hassan says all human brains produce the same hormones when they experience happiness and sadness. Sure. And let's not even go back to physiology, Hassan, with the hormones like serotonin or epinephrine, but let's just stay with the actual psychological, mental part of it. So happiness and sadness, right? So Okay, before I go way off topic or ramble on, so this is what I have here for my explanation. Most people want to be happy in their everyday life, and they want to make others happy as well. Furthermore, people continuously learn and use their knowledge to solve situations in order to achieve their life satisfactions. People speak languages and interact in order to be more effective in their quest for survival and prosperity. Okay, so this arguably is showing that as humans, although we have different paths, our goals and our thinking is quite synonymous. Okay, it's quite synonymous. It's another way to say similar, of course, coming from the concept of synonym, right? Synonymous, all right? Shahil says, when we become happy, some hormone like oxytocin is secreted by our brains. Like every human experiences the same psychology. Yeah, let's not mix in, let's not get too scientific. Let's just keep it in cognitive psychology, so not so much biopsychology like oxytocin or other neurotransmitters and so on. Begjan says, since people are identical psychologically, they can work and live together in different fields, such as education and hospitality, where individuals basically do the same, like waking up in the morning, going to bed at night, and contributing. Yeah, okay. Rajveer says, the way people learn skills is pretty much the same. Everybody wants to strive for happiness and success in their lives, so they tend to follow the same proven approaches to achieve their goals. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Natalie says, according to psychologists, all people commonly have the same psychological needs according to Maslow's pyramid. Yeah, that's right, Natalie, with self-actualization at the top of the pyramid, right? Yeah, Maslow being a sociologist, I believe, in New York, if you look into that a little bit further. Okay, this is my explanation. Now I need to give an example. Okay. So again, include an example here of how psychologically we're much more similar than different. Okay. All right. Al-Amin Islam, you can get 8.9 in the writing by following the steps that I'm explaining to you in the previous class and in this one, okay? Ferdov says, for example, during COVID-19, all medical staff worked 15 to 16 hours in order to help patients and make others happy. Yeah, Ferdovs. So Ferdovs used the COVID-19 in the previous to show that we're physically the same because the virus was able to attack all of us. And psychologically, we're similar. Ferdovs, you could say, during the COVID pandemic, most people, including myself, feared for my health as well as the health of those whom I love. And therefore, just like billions of people around the world, I was empathetic and stayed at home to avoid infection and contact. Okay, so for Dobbs, there you go, using your COVID example from the previous one. Now, I could have joined it with my athletics one as well, so the joy of the game, but I thought Ferdovs did a really good job of bringing a present context into this essay, so why not? Okay, so here it is. During the COVID pandemic, most people, including myself, feared for my health as well as the health of those whom I love, and therefore, just like billions of people around the world, I was empathetic and stayed at home to avoid infection and contact. I should say contact and infection. And that is very good proof of our common psychology. Okay, that's why that works. In fact, because we're so similar psychologically as humans, that's what gives us such an advantage as a species to be so dominant in the world. Okay, all right. Okay, everyone, so that's my second body paragraph. Now I have the conclusion coming up, and I'm not going to race through the conclusion. I will post this on our YouTube community board. You can see many other task 2 essays there. Try to write the conclusion yourself. So I challenge you to write a good conclusion. The conclusion has 3 parts. Okay, so points restated, argument strengthened, and take-home message. And I think those should be quite clear for this topic now that we've discussed it in such detail. So those should be the 3 parts of your conclusion, and I challenge you to do that on your own at home, and then compare it to the essay. I will post this, I think maybe on Sunday. I'll have some time to finish and post this on our YouTube channel's community messages. Okay. So that's the essay so far, all right? And again, when you have good, quick thinking and you choose the right answer for the essay, you know what you're doing, you can write quickly, you can write clearly, and you can get a high band score so that you write an essay that can score band 8 or band 9, okay? That's how you do it. That's what's considered a good quality essay for the IELTS and for college or for university, all right? So, Sadesh, vocabulary definitely helps to boost band score. Grammar does too, but at the end of the day, content is king, okay? What you have in your essay, the information, that's going to be the most important. You're all very, very welcome. Coming up in 30 minutes, I will host a task 1 writing class for the academic. It will be a diagram on the different kinds of clouds. So if you're into clouds and you want to learn about clouds and at the same time learn how to write for diagrams, come back in 30 minutes and join me for some task 1 writing. Otherwise, you can always check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Check out our premium package there, and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Definitely worthwhile and worth a bit of investment. I'm Adrian, signing out for now. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.